Hi, everyone. I'm Yoande Falian. I'm a former McKinsey consultant and Morgan Stanley VP turned founder and CEO of OTTAL. And I'm also a certified leadership coach. And at OTTAL, we are all about helping leaders move into more senior, more impactful, more meaningful leadership positions. And when it comes to having an impact in your business, in your company, while title and position isn't everything, it is super important, right? Which is why one of the most consistent goals that my clients reach out to me for is getting that promotion. We're midway through April. So if you haven't already got your plan of attack in motion for that end of year promotion, what are you waiting for? Right? We're well through the year, and it's important to set yourself up for success if you haven't already and get that really clear plan that's going to get you there. So I'm dedicating this show to helping you to focus on the key thing that will get you to that promotion that you seek. So I'm going to share two things. One, what I see managers, leaders, executives do time and time again during their promotion run, which actually holds them back from achieving the promotion that they want. So they focus on doing certain things, which seems on the outset to be where it makes sense to focus, but it's actually counterintuitive. And then I'm going to share what you should be doing instead. So imagine you're up for promotion this year, and I assume that you are if you're watching this, or maybe you're looking maybe mid-year. What's your plan? Here's what I see people do. First of all, they do more. Work harder, work later, work longer, focus on showing how great they are at what they do. And they just consistently do that, sometimes to the point of extreme stress, sometimes to burnout. But it's almost like, all right, this is my promotion year. I have to show that I can do more. And that's what they do, more and more and more. That's one thing. The second, speak to more senior mentors. So I do love a good mentor. And so what I hear people do is they sit with them and they go, hey, I'm up for promotion. Tell me about how you got your promotion. They learn what the person did and they try to, with the best intentions, implement those things. Third thing I hear people do, they speak to their managers. Often the way it comes across is to ask if they think they're up for it, to kind of get a soft buy-in. Maybe they write a list of what they need to do, and then they aim to follow that list and kind of keep track of what's happening there. Then, of course, with that, they're working harder, longer, working later in the day, getting more stressed about it. Maybe they check in with their managers 3 months, 6 months later that they're still on track, and then cross their fingers and hope for the best. And in between, of course, still working harder, longer, later than they've ever done before. And it makes sense, right? Because many of us believe that the reason why we will get promoted is because of what we do now, because people see us and they go, oh my gosh, she is great at what she does. He is great at what he does. Therefore, it makes sense that they get promoted. Maybe they've been in that position for a certain number of years. So many of us assume that provided that we are ready for the promotion, i.e., I've done my time and I'm doing a great job, then all that you can do is kind of hope for the best and keep doing more of. But as I always say, the thing that's going to get you to the next level, to get you to where it is you want to be, is not necessarily the thing that got you to where you are now. So you may even, and what often comes with that, with this assumption that I'm doing a great job, right? I've done my time, is that sometimes we're resigning ourselves to the fact that it's kind of out of our hands, right? We're doing all that we can. So in order to kind of suppress that frustration of the obvious unfairness of the process, we kind of resonate to just assuming that that all we can do is do our best. And this is especially the case if we've recently been through an unsuccessful promotion. And we, of course, say that, we're not one of those people who kind of suck up to the bosses, because we don't need to do that. We're great at what we do, and our work is going to speak for itself. So again, many of these people reach out to, or maybe you've done this as well, reach out to mentors for some advice on what you should be doing, right? And it makes sense because mentors are safe by nature and they provide feel-good advice that kind of resonates and allows us to do more of what we're comfortable with. However, while all of these things are comfortable and they make sense, if you're looking to have real impact, how well are you doing that in that process, right? Here's what you should be thinking and doing instead. First of all, yes, keep doing a great job because that's important, but be strategic about what you do and why you're doing it. Second, I would say that mentors are great, but mentors cannot get you the promotion that you want. by their nature, and sometimes you do have mentors that are sponsors as well, but just by the nature of a mentor, their job is to advise, not to advocate. So you really do need to focus on your sponsors because those are the people in the room, those are the people making the decisions. And while your manager might be one, they're not often either the key person or the sole person, especially the more senior that you get, right? So you're looking at more senior sponsors than your manager. And then the third is the consistency of working on your career, i.e., contacting these people who are most important and being strategic about what you're doing in a consistent way, as opposed to kind of the business as usual way, right? Being consistent and intentional about the connections that you're making, particularly with your sponsors. I know, and I'm going to emphasize the piece on sponsorship a lot because this is really important. I know people who have been promoted with different levels of mentorship, different levels of impact, different levels of experiences, of work effort, etc. I do not know a single person that has been promoted without a sponsor, particularly at more senior levels, right? And that's actually really good news because I love it when there's a clear source of success because it means that you have something that you can focus on and master for continuous success. And some people, again, may go, oh, this is just sucking up. This is really just thinking about, this is the mindset that kind of goes back to focusing on doing great work, which is more comfortable. You may go, well, that's just sucking up. That's not what I do, right? My work should show enough. My work is where my value is. Therefore, that's the thing that I should be focusing on. And if you fear being seen as someone who just talks and you fear putting yourself out there, it makes sense that you might hold back. But how does that help you with getting the desired promotion? What if instead of seeing the process of sponsorship and of reaching out to more senior people as something that looks like sucking up or taking your eye off the ball in terms of the work that you do and the impact that you have, but you actually saw it as an opportunity to step up the level of impact that you have by raising your visibility and not just influencing people within your sphere, but influencing more senior people, right? It becoming a win win. One, they know you in terms of the sponsorship they can provide because they're in the room making that decision. And you're actually having a greater level of impact because you're now not just influencing people at your level or one level above, but potentially people 2 levels above, 3 levels above, thereby making it easier both for them to see the value of you being promoted and also for you to have the impact that you want. And another way that I sort of share this with my clients, that really, or my clients and I kind of partner to help to shift frame of mind, is what if instead of seeing yourself as someone who is, let's say, for example, a senior manager, maybe a VP in banking, a junior partner, or senior manager or a junior partner in consulting, instead of seeing yourself at that level and going, I am great at what I do at that level, therefore I deserve a promotion. Instead, you saw yourself as actually the title I'm at the moment is just the title I'm at. I'm actually going to see myself as a partner in consulting. I'm going to see myself as an executive director or managing director in finance. And I'm going to act from that perspective, which means that now when you're speaking to these stakeholders, the sponsors, the more senior members of staff, you're not reaching out to suck up to them. You're actually looking at them as peers and you're going, hey, my job is not to show you that I'm great at what I do. My job is to work with you to create greater impact so that you naturally see that I'm already at that level and therefore I'm ready. I'm ready for the promotion because I'm already operating at that level. Okay. Um, so what does this actually look like in practice when it comes to, I guess, thinking about your promotion? The first is identifying the most effective sponsors or sponsor as your primary advocate. No, not all sponsors are built the same, just like not all people in your company are built the same. The ideal, okay, so the ideal sponsor is someone who you know will be in the decision-making room, right? That's the first thing. The second, they have the power and influence to make an impact on the decision. Third, they have a track record of being fearless and saying what they want, right? You could have the greatest sponsor in the world, but if they're not going to advocate for you in the room, then it makes no difference, right? If they're not vocal and they're not okay about kind of putting their neck on the line to kind of advocate, then it's great they're in the room, but they're not going to say anything. And the fourth, someone whose line of work and their focus aligns with not just yours, but directly aligns with the impact that you can have. So, as an example, let's imagine that you're working in, you're a consultant who works in the healthcare space, and there is a partner who also works in the healthcare space, right? Your or a senior partner who works in the healthcare space, your focus and the impact of the work that you do are aligned, and therefore it makes sense that they become potentially a sponsor of yours. What that could also look like is if you're, I don't know, finance senior VP or ED looking to move up into ED or MD, and you are working in prime brokerage, right? You might find that actually a lot of your clients do work in the stock lending area or in private wealth management, and therefore there might be people in those areas whose clients and their focus on what they're trying to achieve and the insights that you can bring aligns with what it is that helps them as senior leaders to actually do their work better, more effectively, more effortlessly, just based on the insights that you have and what you do, right? So that's the first thing. Identify the most effective sponsor as your primary. The second is then remembering that having one sponsor is just not enough, right? If you go into a room, especially, I would say, especially when you're moving up into more senior management and executive levels, right? If one person says, "Oh my gosh, Jada is great, she's amazing," and everyone else goes, "Jada who?" then it's going to be really difficult to sell your worth and value for the business, even if the most influential leader speaks up for you. So once you've identified your primary, then identify 2 to 4 additional supporting sponsors, right? Your manager, direct line may come into that, but also think widely because it's important that it's not just kind of you're not a one hit wonder in terms of area, but people more broadly also know who you are and the impact that you can have, because impact is both about the size of the impact and also the breadth and the span. All right. So now you've thought about and you've identified kind of your sponsor, your board of sponsors, for lack of a better phrase. And then it's about how you establish your relationship with the sponsors. Okay. The way to establish your relationship is to actually meet with them. And again, this is not about meeting with them for the sake of meeting. This is not a tick box exercise. And that's a big mistake that I see a lot of people do, right? They go, I'm not going to invest in that because it doesn't align with who I am. I'm not a suck up. I'm not just going to meet these people for the sake of meeting them. I don't want to play the game, which often comes from a place of you know, fear and holding back from truly just expressing who you are. But if you kind of move that fear away and you go, actually, this is a great opportunity for me to have greater impact because I have the ear of these sponsors and I know that I can actually create with their power, influence, access, the amount of impact that I can have will be exponential. Plus, again, it gives you the opportunity for them to see who you are and to have the advocates for yours when it comes time for promotion. Then it becomes so much easier to go, yeah, it makes sense to meet with them. So meet with your sponsors, understand what it is they need, what they're doing, where their focus is, what they value, what's most important to them, what they want to achieve, right? Talk business with them, understand where they are, and then explicitly share the unique input that you can provide to them both immediately and going forward, right? Don't just tell them, actually show them, give them examples, and confidently express your ambitions, right? I'm going for a director this year and express what it is that you want from them. I'd love to get the support of someone like you and for you to guide me through that. I know that there's a lot of value that I can provide. For example, I work with these clients who I know are very important to you in your business. And just through the insights that I can provide and potentially providing some of our services, it means that you'd be able to do X, Y, and Z, right? Make the connection for them and talk about projects you can work with them on, if you can kind of share and provide to them. Talk about, I don't know, ways you can partner to get clients together, right? Um, but and you have to think about when you also have these discussions, right? Maybe you don't go straight out in meeting one and go, I want you to support me and advocate for me, but share your ambitions, right? I'm going for this year, and really I feel like this is a great opportunity for us to partner. maybe in meeting 2 and meeting 3, when they see how awesome you are and you guys start to collaborate, then you start to move into explicitly sharing with them. You don't have to say, I want you to be my sponsor, but you can share with them. Um, I mean, you can share with them, I want you to be my sponsor. I'm always about the bolder, the better. But you can, depending on the culture and the environment, you could go, remember I mentioned that I want to go for this. I think it's been great the way we've been working together. I would love for you to support me in that, right? What would it take for us to get there? What else could I do? How else can we work together? What do you need to see more of me, more from me? Take your career into your hands, right? This is not about being overly pushy. It's about being a grown up about what your career looks like and working on your career, not just in your career. Okay. So we've talked about identifying your main sponsor, talked about identifying 2 to 3 other sponsors that are also going to bolster up your promotion recommendation. We talked about establishing your relationship with all of those sponsors. And then the fourth is regularly nurturing those relationships, right? This is not just, again, about meeting up, it's about building a relationship where they see you as the go to person for X. It doesn't mean that you are working for them full time. It doesn't mean that you now have 5 different jobs, right? The creativity here is thinking about how what you do connects with what they need, right? And how you can enhance what you do to have a greater impact on both your area, but also in a wider breadth. Okay. So you're not necessarily meeting with them as often as your manager, but you're definitely meeting with them regularly to touch base. And if you're working on them with them on a project, then that's even greater. But do separate the working with them from the relationship you're building. So you want space both to provide them with insights and to support them, right? And to build that sort of business-based relationships where potentially you're going into clients with them together or you're working on a project. But you also want the touch points where you are discussing your aspirations and being explicit and clear about how they can support you with that. And if there are any gaps, understanding the gaps so that they feel very confident about supporting you. And then again, regularly check in on those relationships, reestablish those relationships with your sponsor, including your manager. Sponsorship is the key to accelerating your promotion. Again, I have never seen anyone get promoted without a sponsor because by the nature of it, there are a number of people in the room making that decision. And if you don't have enough advocates for your promotion, then it's just not going to work. This is not about believing that you're just sucking up. It's about thinking about how you're finding the win-win-win for you, for your business, for your colleagues, regardless of what's going on. And you're also thinking about where you can have the greatest impact in a way that benefits everyone, not just kind of you sitting down with your head down, doing more and more work, which is just effortful. The final thing I'll say on this is also remembering that the more senior you get, again, it's not just about you sitting and doing. Anyone can sit down and do, right? Your value is more than in the doing. It's in creating those connections. It's in understanding where the value is for the business. It's in understanding your strengths and leveraging your strengths so that you can create that value for the business. And by reframing those beliefs, right? Believing that you are already in that more senior position and acting from that place of seniority, by reframing and believing that you are great at what you do and you don't need to prove that to anyone, but actually your focus is on creating the impact so that you can have impact within your business for others, for your clients, etc. And by believing that your job is to create that value, it means that now you're setting yourself up for promotion in a way that is effortless, where you feel like you're growing, where it's meaningful, and where it doesn't feel so much like a game and like things are outside of your control. All right. So if you want to shift that promotion from a game of chance, or your upcoming hope for a promotion from a game of chance to one that you feel super confident that you're setting yourself up for success to achieve, then let's chat, right? If you want help with that, head over to www.ottalleadership.com to book time with me to chat and see how I can help. All right. Thanks so much for your time. Stay safe, stay focused, stay energized.